everyone, welcome back to your weekly economics roundup. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." This week, that was basically India's economic strategy. While the world panicked, India quietly stayed steady. Let's get into it. Since the Strait of Hormuz closed, countries have been using their emergency oil reserves to stop prices from exploding. But reserves are shrinking fast. Global oil stockpile fell by 200 million barrels in April alone. 280 million barrels have already been used since the conflict began. Think of it like a family emergency fund during non-stop rain. Eventually, the money runs out. If reserves dry up, it could spike the oil prices sharply, making transport, food, and daily life more expensive everywhere. Europe's economy grew just to 0.1% this quarter, while inflation rose to 3%. The European Central Bank did not raise or cut rates. This is because either move could make things even more worse. Raise rates, growth suffers. Cut rates, inflation rises further. So Europe is mostly waiting and hoping. India's inflation came at 3.5% in April, lower than expected despite global oil pressures. The government also renewed India's inflation targeting framework for 5 more years. The RBI will continue aiming for 4% inflation with a 2 to 6% tolerance band. If it misses badly, it must explain why to the government. Markets now expect US interest rates to stay stable through most of 2026. Chances of rate cuts have sharply fallen as inflation remains stubborn. The Fed wanted room to cut rates, however, inflation had other plans. Now, concept time. Inflation targeting means that the central bank publicly commits to keeping inflation near a set number. In India, that target is 4%. If the inflation rises too much, the RBI will raise rates to slow spending. If the inflation falls too low, the RBI will cut rates to support growth. The key word is public. Businesses, workers, investors can plan better when they trust the central bank's target. Countries without credible targets like Turkey or Argentina have struggled with runaway inflation because people lost confidence in the system. That's all for this week. See you again.